Hello ladies, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Dr. Venessa Ellen, and this is the social media home of Real Life Women's Ministries. We do many things. We do some cooking. We have some great conversations with many different women across the world. We also do some biblical convictions. But today I'm so excited because we're introducing a new, I guess you could call it a new series of the Real Life conversation situation. It's called Coffee with My Pastor's Wife. You know, I know that there can be times when maybe you see your pastor's wife from afar and you want to get to know her more. There's things you're thinking, I wish I could ask her about. Well, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take some of the ladies in my church and we're just going to sit down and have a conversation over coffee. Hey, today I'm excited because my guest, who's actually going to be my co-host, I am passing the mic to her. Her name is Sister Shawn Caselberry, Shawn Renee as I call her. She is going to come on and she's going to be my co-host and we're going to have a good time. But hey, let her tell you all about herself and where she serves in the ministry.
Hi, my name is Shawn Caselberry. I am currently the ministry assistant to Dr. Nicholas and Dr. Venessa Ellen, and I am also on the Women's Council. I am a member of the administrative team, and I am also a member of the social media team. And I have been serving in this church with my husband, Shawn Caselberry, for several years. And we are just grateful to be here. And so I look forward to this experience and this new segment of our show.
All right, so we've made our coffee. So it's time to start Coffee with My Pastor's Wife. Ladies, we're just going to roll through a couple of questions. And remember, I said I'm doing this because I know that you have a pastor's wife or you know a pastor's wife. And maybe there's some things you want to ask her and you thought, maybe not, maybe I can't. But I really want to get to know her. So this is that opportunity. I'm going to start with some of the ladies out of my church. This again is my Shawn Renee, my ministry assistant, as she said. Shawn, I'm passing the mic to you.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate this opportunity because I think I mentioned to you before that early on when Shawn and I first started going to Community of Faith, there was an email sent and I was kind of concerned about whether or not I should respond to you. I didn't know because I didn't have that prior experience with the First Lady. I didn't have that closeness with any prior First Ladies. So I wasn't sure if that was what I should do. So I appreciate you for having this segment.
I think it's going to be great.
And as a leader's wife, I do have some questions for you because I feel like you are the ultimate. You are the leader's wife of our church. And I just think since my husband is a leader in ministry, I would like to come alongside him in my role.
Yes.
And in purpose. Mm-hmm. So my first question to you, I noticed that you are always on. Your fashion, when you come to church, you're ready from head to toe. You are always ready for church. Me, on the other hand, when I drive in, I'm untwisting my hair. When I get to church, I'm in flats because I'm running around before church starts because I have so many different things to do. And the bathroom has been lovingly coined as my office because that's where I go right before service to put my makeup on, you know, and some of the other ladies do the same thing. And that's where we have some fellowship before church. And so I just want to know, is that unbecoming of a leader's wife?
Listen, style is style. It's personal to everyone. I think my grandmother etched this into my skull. Even if you don't feel good, you should look good. You know, I was raised by the older generation, and the older generation was always about a little rouge and a little lipstick. You didn't have to be full face, you know, but when you left the house, you needed to look a certain way. And I think I was probably just so young and just hearing all this all my life, I've strived to do that. We were headed out to walk the other day, and my oldest daughter said, "Are you really putting earrings on to go out on a walk?" It's just who I think I was crafted into from my parents and grandparents. But I think that every leader's wife kind of goes along with their leader husband. You know, if he's going out to a social event and he has on a suit and tie, I think that's a little bit about modesty as well. Modesty also means appropriate for the moment. So if he's headed out in a suit and tie, I mean, I want to try to meet that. Not necessarily always have to match it, but to meet it. If he is in a position where, say, he's leading at church and he has to be in a polo or something, he's going out to the park to do evangelism, then I might not want to put on my sequins and follow him out to the park. So I think the answer to that question is it's individual style, whatever your individual style is, but I think it's what's appropriate for the moment that your leader husband is in.
Good. Thank you. Now, my next question, what exactly is my role and how do I manage it well?
Well, first, we're Christians, right? We are first lovers of the Lord. And I think that is what is most important in everything that we do. That first we realize that I'm not just a wife. I'm not just a woman. I'm not just a leader's wife. I'm a Christian. So I follow what God says first. And then if I'm married, which we are, then I have to be that Titus 2 woman where I am coming alongside of him and being a helper to whatever God has called him to do. So that's another part of the role. Now that varies because you can have little kids. And so your helper role may not be as wide or as broad as someone who does not have toddlers in tow, so that's a little different. Your role, I think, for you is to learn what it is that he would have you to do. That's most important. How would he have you come alongside him and help him? And then I think for your sanity and his sanity as well, make sure that you're also using your gifts, which you are, in the areas that are just uniquely you. Sometimes I find that women they'll just follow him around like little ducklings and then they want to complain that they don't have a life. I'm not suggesting you don't follow him around, but what I'm saying is what a lady said to me, girl, get your life, which you already have. But what exactly is your role? Be a Christian first. Take care of your husband in your home. Use your gifts for the glory of God.
Good. Thank you for that. I appreciate that reminder. And as you mentioned about his needs, that's my next question, which is, how am I supposed to anticipate what his needs are, or do I ask him or just wait for him to tell me what he needs? Yeah,
that's a tough one because it depends on the season that he's in. It depends on the cycle. It depends on where he leads. I would say that it's yes to all of those. Okay. Ask, anticipate, and wait. All of the above. Asking him, how can I help you today? Is really important, especially since your husband works also in corporate America. So he's balancing corporate America as well as his church life. How can I help you this week? What is it that you have on your plate that maybe I can take off? But also anticipate, meaning, okay, I know that he's got a trial coming up, so he's going to be a little out of pocket. Can I play secretary in his ministry role for a little bit? Can I balance that and hand that back to him when he's done? But can I help in that? And then, what did I say? So ask and anticipate and then wait. Sometimes I found, and I learned this from my husband, that help is when it's asked for. Now that was hard for me. We don't even have time for me to tell you the story of the garbage can. But I'll tell it to you anyway, really quick, 30 seconds. So when we first got married, we had bought these trash cans out of some dollar store or whatever, but it turned out there were like 3 stuck together in there and I couldn't get them apart. So I'd taken them to my husband. We were probably married, 6-8 months or something like that, still learning each other. I took them to him and I said, hey, can you take this apart? I walk away. I come back 20 minutes later. He's still struggling with the garbage cans. So I'm like, okay, I got it. He's like, but you asked me to help you. I did, but that was 20 minutes ago. And that was when I first learned, hey, help means help. If you want me to help you, then you need to move and let me do it. So the wait sometimes is he may have crafted a way that he's going to handle it, balancing his roles, his responsibilities, and he may not want your help just yet. So the answer is yes to all of it. Ask, anticipate, and wait.
Thank you. That is actually the scenario that we're in this week. Shawn is very busy at work. We have something, a big event that we're planning for the church with his ministry. And so he's asking me to help him with the paperwork and, those administrative duties, like I said, that are part of my gifts. And so I believe he is really thinking about it and saying, he's taking the time to say, thank you. I appreciate you for doing that. And so I know that this is a very busy week for him.
Yeah.
So I don't mind helping him ever, but I am trying to anticipate what he needs, especially on weeks like this when he's very busy with work and with church. So I appreciate that. So as you know, we're both in ministry. Shawn is encouraged in his role by the other men in the church, and I am encouraged in my role by you and the other women in the church. And I just wanted to know, are there any activities or retreats or conferences or anything that we can do together to grow our ministry together as a ministry couple?
That's a little difficult because of the times that we live in. I guess you could say pre-pandemic, there were all of these pastor retreats, and they're really leadership sites where they have no internet, they have no cable, they have no nothing. But you can go and be rejuvenated. There are many of those, and actually they're quite good. I poke fun, but it's quiet, serenity, and you can also take a leadership team and go. But I think as we are in this different stage of life with the pandemic, we don't know what the future will hold. I think we will have to craft out those moments for ourselves. Like we will have to take time, say couples, y'all and I, like we went to dinner that time. We go, I think we'll have to intentionally figure out how to do this in this post-pandemic world. Pre-pandemic, I would have told you, oh yeah, girl, we can do this. Now I think we just kind of trust God and see what comes up. It's a little harder now. Yes, because I'd like to, Shawn and I are, obviously we're married, we have our own marital relationship, but in our ministries, I think we both see our ministries as separate. Yeah. And, you and I have had this conversation before, and, there are confidential things that he deals with, there are confidential things that I deal with. And so we usually don't marry those two. We keep those separate. And, because of the confidentiality of, people in the church, and, you don't want things to get out. Now, obviously I wouldn't tell anything, and nor would he, but we seem to just remain tight-lipped about these things and, the things that are going on. Now sometimes our ministries do things together, and, we have those conversations, but I just feel like there should be some unity within us as a couple in ministry. And so I just want to get that information. Now, I think, so let me say this. Now, here's what I'm prefacing this with. Maturity. Not for you and your husband, but for all the other leaders' wives that are watching. It's a maturity level. I would say that you and your husband, she and her husband, are safe to share the confidentiality because y'all are one. And, my husband and I, we believe in that marital union, that marital oneness. Y'all are one. Y'all can hold that cup of coffee together and not spill the tea. You know what I mean? Like my analogy broke down. But what I'm saying is you all can do that. Not every couple can do that. The wife cannot keep confidentiality, and before you know it, it's in the form of a prayer request, and wait, that wasn't supposed to be out there like that, But I think that how you all can come together is actually talking about your ministries together. You can hold each other's confidences, and I think you almost need that. Because if not, you got all of this stuff rolling in your head, and you want to ask, what you think about that? But now be careful, because the other one could be having an off day. I tend to not tell my husband certain things when he is managing a lot. Or if somebody's trying to send a note to my husband through me. I don't pass notes, boo-boo. And you have to learn how to decide, is this a real thing I should share with him? Is this just going to burden him down? Is this going to cause him to look sideways at this person? Or is this something that I think he really should know? Or can he help me? That's where you have to manage that. But I would say every leader's wife needs to be careful of people using you to pass a note.
I think I would be that strong one like you.
That's a no. I'm not passing that note. But it took me years to learn that. I didn't know coming in as a leader's wife, a new leader. There wasn't this coffee with my pastor's wife during that. We've been married. It'll be 24 years in December. Yes, I had a lot of great mentors, a lot of pastors' wives that poured into me, but there were just things I didn't know. I didn't know that people literally were trying to tell him something by telling me.
Right. Because they assumed that you would go and tell them.
And it was usually mess.
Well, thank you for that. And my last question, I'll just tell you, when my dad became a deacon and subsequently a minister, my mom, I saw her, settle in her own space with my dad, albeit reluctantly at first. I think what I learned from them is that the journey is not just his.
That's right.
It is also ours as their helper, which spills
Shawn,
into
are you preaching? That sounds like you're preaching.
No, not at all. Not at all. I am just a ministry assistant. I am just a women's council member.
But that'll preach in a sense that, it's not just him. It's not just his ministry.
And I've learned so much from my mom. My mom is also like you. She is dressed to the nines when she goes anywhere.
Yes, she is. Hi, Mommy. That hair is always in place.
Yes, that is my mother. She is like that. And that's goals for me too. Yeah. I have that example at home in my family, as well as at church with you and several other women in our church. But my last question is, what are 3 things that you would suggest that a new pastor or leader's wife remember?
3 things that I would suggest a new pastor or leader's wife remember. Remember who God has crafted you to be. Remember what God says, all 66 books. Study the word. Study to show yourself a workman who need not be ashamed. You need to know the Bible. You may not be the preacher. You may not be the deacon. You may not be any of that. But you are a Christian that's walking alongside of him. Study to show yourself approved. I won't even tell y'all the story of how I didn't know that I needed to know all these theological terms. And I'm not saying go get all these degrees. You don't have to do all of that. But you do need to know a little thimble of something just to live your life as well as to help others. So remember who you are in Jesus Christ. Study to show yourself approved. And the third one I would say is be careful of, let me see how I want to say it. Steward the ministry that you have with your husband. Now, what do I mean by that? Be careful not to cause him to stumble or others to stumble because of your behavior as his wife. My husband often says, for leaders, he often says, you can only go as far as your wife will let you go in ministry. Now, if you really think about that, if we really were to think about that as wives, that's pretty crushing. My husband could only go as far up as I let him. Now, who am I to hinder God's work in his life? You know what I mean? But if I'm a cussing, fussing, rolling around, gossiping, who's going to put him as an elder?
Right.
He doesn't manage his household well.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? If I'm always attitudinal and whatever else, that might shine some questionable things upon him. So that would be my 3. Remember who you are in Jesus Christ, always. Study to show yourself approved. Steward the ministry you have with your husband very well.
Nice. Good advice. Thank you so much. I appreciate this.
Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you, ladies. Again, this has been Coffee with My Pastor's Wife. I'm Dr. Venessa Ellen, and this is Sister Shawn Caselberry. We've had a great time. I hope that you'll join us again next time. See you soon.